Okay, so I always start with general shapes, everything I draw. So the biggest trick to drawing a T-Rex is understanding the general shapes. Um, like for instance, the body is kind of like this triangle shape, and then the head is kind of like a square or a little bit of a rectangle, but mostly a square. And then the neck kind of goes up and then down, up a little bit. And let's see here. So then we've got the leg, which is going, the hip's going to be way up here. The knee goes right close to the body. Okay. And you know, T-Rexes are on their tippy toes like most animals. To us, that looks abnormal, but we're the weird ones. We all have the same bone structure. It's just a matter of like how it's distributed and the proportions. Let's see. So, yeah, I keep this really, really loose because that way I don't get too committed. But yeah, as you can see, as I start to do this, I refine a few things. Like I make this little node. This is kind of where the chest muscle is, and this is kind of where the shoulder would be. The hands are like pretty much as small as you can make them. Usually I make them even bigger than they're technically supposed to be. But yeah, when you think of these, try not to think of human arms. Keep trying to think of birds, and that'll make it look more natural. Let's see. So yeah, like kind of how birds, they kind of tuck in their arms, you know, they keep their elbows in, or they keep everything curled when they're not flying, I guess. So that's kind of what a T-Rex would do, I think. And then there's the tail, which I didn't really give myself enough room for, but I usually make it a really thick tail. And the tail is really thin, like it's thin this way, but then long, like if I'm a cross section through the T-Rex. Okay, face. See, so I tried to avoid doing the face yet because, again, you don't want to commit too early or you're going to have funky proportions. And once you've worked so hard on one part of it, then all of a sudden you're going to not want to change anything else. And that's bad. Okay, so with Devil Dinosaur, I kind of give him a little bit of flair, right? Like usually there's just kind of this eye thing, and make sure that you still kind of have this neck that goes past the eye. Most animals have this, where their eye is almost in the middle between the nostril and the ear or whatever. Anyway. So yeah, usually they have this bump and then they have like this kind of nostril thing, but of course I exaggerate everything. And then like their mouth is kind of dipped like this. So it's kind of like this round nose, and then it just kind of zigzags and joins there. And then the bottom jaw is just massive. I mean, usually I draw open. I don't think they close their mouth that often somehow in my head. I think it would be difficult with all those teeth and stuff. Anyway, with Devil Dinosaur, I add like some pokey stuff here. Also, they have really small eyes. That really makes it look more like a T-Rex than anything else, is having like this huge eye socket and then a little tiny eye. And then I usually draw this little billy goat thing at the bottom, which is not actually a T-Rex thing. They kind of have some like loose skin underneath. Um, Now with the teeth, actually I'm going to open this jaw a bit because I'm going to show you what I do with the teeth that kind of makes it look ferocious. Okay, so the trick to the teeth is that they're a little bit shorter in the front and they get big around here and then they get short again. So I kind of draw this line like this as a guide, and then, you know, they curl. So there's something about that like streamlining or something, I don't know, that makes it look more ferocious. And then, of course, there's like this flappy stuff that shows up when they open up their jaw. The nostril kind of, yeah, somewhere up here. And I'm making this more deep set. I mean, the details you're going to have to figure out yourself. I'm sorry. But yeah, and then one of the hardest things about drawing a T-Rex or a raptor or whatever is just figuring out like how to make their balance on, because the thing is we don't really have bipedal animals in modern day that bend over like parallel to the ground, except I guess like chickens kind of do. I always thought they were more upright, but actually when you think of a chicken, they look like they're upright, but they actually are more like this, you know, not really like this, but they're actually more sideways. So I would definitely like use those for reference, because even scientifically they believe that chickens are kind of like the closest related walkers, and they actually do experiments on them to figure out how T-Rexes might have walked. So pretty legit stuff. That also means that when the feet are moving, see, this I wasn't sure about. At first, when I would have them walk, it would be really hard because it just looked funny having these feet go up and down that are just like, rah, like this. So no, it's more like how chicken feet work, right? So they kind of curl when they go up. So yeah, that kind of helps me to make them feel more natural. And of course, yeah, you always just kind of have to be careful about making the weight of where everything's going feel even, which again is why you want to have a loose sketch so that you can keep adjusting until it looks natural. And then of course, I like to draw this like black stripage on top of Devil Dinosaur, because I like to think of him as like kind of sensitive to the sun. So anything that's pointing up, and then that kind of also is useful because it's kind of looks like scales, and then you can kind of turn it into a 3D thing. Like with the tail, for instance, there's like kind of this ridge, and then it gets a little fatter towards the middle. And so you can kind of outline that a little bit just by having these different features. But yeah, so anyway, that's how you draw a T-Rex. Side view is going to be the easiest view. But yeah, so go and draw your own now. Tell me how it goes, or show me how it goes. All right.